Well, the meeting's order at 6:05.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. One letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Update on Stevens Path.
She's bad. I spoke to Mike Poquott because, it's too much for the handyman to do, and the volunteers aren't working out like we talked about, so he called me and, Joe, did you drop off the numbers for that? It was 12 and change, I think?
1275.
To have it moved down and spread out.
Customer will supply material which is already there. 4D landscaping will relocate stone down the steps and install along designated areas on the beach. Project is labor intensive and will require men to wheelbarrow materials down the steps. Total price, $1,275.
So that's the best solution that I think we can come up with, just to get it down there, because, I don't want people complaining, see those kids on it, and that's just probably the best way to do it.
Right, well, it's been 5 months, so. Now, what happened to the email that you sent to the board that said, I purchased materials for this, where are those
I did.
materials?
I still have them in my house, but
Okay.
that was on my dime, I didn't use a credit card or anything.
Okay, so do you want to provide them to the village so that the handyman
It's
could
just
see?
two by threes and some.
Well, Bill Pope has sent an email saying that he could provide PCV pipe that would be big
Yeah,
enough
I
to do
mean, I went
that.
there, a 6-inch pipe isn't gonna cut it, so that's why I was looking at it. I said, we put gravel down a 6-inch pipe, it's too far. It's just,
Do you think
gonna
that David could do with a 6-inch pipe?
What exactly do you want to do?
We have to bring down well, what happened is the first time that he put the gravel down, and when it rained, it went underneath, but it filled in that bottom step. Remember how we thought that bottom step was falling? Filled it in, so it hasn't moved since then. And not because of the cold weather, it wasn't moving much in the fall. So now we have, I don't know how many yards of gravel, I forgot, it's been so long, 3, 4, 8?
Well, what's there is not enough to cover that path.
No, but we
Yeah,
just
so-
wanna fill it in. We just wanna fill it in so that,
Just the bottom step?
no, just the step part. The path is like pretty solid like dirt.
It's probably about 25 feet out.
Yeah.
So it's rutted, you have a little bit.
Yeah, David could probably do it.
But does he need the pipe to do it? I mean, we talked to him, he said he'd have to bring down 5-gallon buckets and he wanted help.
I mean, that's what he did when he was here at the Indian Path. He was, lugging
That was about,
bucket
yeah,
by
what about a
bucket
yard
by
down
bucket.
from the
It's a lot of
steps?
physical work, you also have to go
It is.
up.
Yeah, it was a labor
But still, it just seems to
I don't know if
be
it
a
could
lot
be a
of work.
chute, I don't know if a.
Well, that's what we're talking about, PCV.
Yeah.
A chute's not gonna work.
6-inch
6-inch
chute would
It's
work.
not-
Wouldn't work.
It would be jammed
You would
the whole
need-
way, I think.
If you were going to attempt to do something like that, you would need one of the chutes like off a cement truck.
Right, right.
That is big enough, but it's not, gravel is not gonna sit there and roll down a hill, I hate to tell you. It's just not going to.
He was in like a,
So what's
that kind of,
You either carry it down, wheelbarrow it down, and that's really tough on those stairs.
Okay, so, do we go?
I mean,
Why can't you do it in 2 phases where we, a bunch of guys at the top with shovels and just toss it down to the bottom where it.
you can't toss it down that
37
way.
steps,
You
Joe.
get must,
That's 37 steps.
from the top to that.
37
I'm
steps.
sorry.
So that's really probably about 40 feet. If it's
Yeah,
Probably-
37
probably
steps.
more than that.
Even if you did it, like, just pulling it down, a rake and a hoe, going
Not
down,
gonna-
as you know.
That's ridiculous.
That's 8 yards, you realize, that's a lot of gravel. I mean, Bill was up there and they did about a yard, I mean, I moved 2 yards, and I had the gravel put over there, on those steps, I mean, it took me a while, it took me 3 truckloads to move over there, to get it out of there.
it's a
So-
lot to move.
I mean, my idea was just like, a 6-inch pipe, I'm looking at it, there's no way all the stone's
just
gonna
gets
go down
jammed
there, it's
up.
gonna
It'll
get
get
jammed
jammed
up,
up.
so it's gotta be an open V trough to put in there, by the time,
So when we did it last time, we had, what do we have, 5 people? And it was done in half a day, 4 hours.
Yeah, if you have a group of people who are gonna get together and get buckets and haul buckets down the hill, then yeah, I mean, look, many hands make light work.
how many
Right.
yards?
I mean,
do you do?
if you filled the buckets up even halfway and carried 2 of them down, because it's easier to carry 2 than 1. But you need volunteers. And like I told you at the, meet the candidate, you're not gonna get volunteers. You can't do it, you found that
You know
out.
what? I
It's a
found
joke.
out the hard way. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, we used to have a high school kid, but they went to college. And Alice's friends. Okay, so are we gonna look for another solution, or are we gonna pay $1,300 to have it spread out in the spring?
Is there a way we can get one of those troughs?
I don't,
Somebody
you
have
wanna look
one
and see if we
that
get one of those
I mean,
troughs?
if we rent it, go to the rental place that they have, maybe there's something that we can rent for.
I don't think that's the way to do it. Gravel is not gonna slide down there. Even if you put it on an angle, gravel's gonna sit there. It doesn't roll.
I think the best way to do it would be to either get a group of people to load it into
Buckets
buckets.
and carry it down and dump it,
Or-
and then you have somebody down there, or a couple people down there with rakes somewhere.
If we get, maybe we
Or
can
leave a
have a
bucket there
day.
with a sign when you're walking your dog, take a bucket
Take a
down with
bucket.
you.
That's how I do it.
Take a half a bucket down on your way down.
But seriously, if we would, maybe
With-
wait till a little better weather, obviously.
But we have to now, yeah, it's frozen.
But if we make it like a day and we all show up and we just, we could get a lot of it done.
I'm all for that.
I mean,
Okay.
I would like to do that too. I think that would be fun if we could, I don't know, fun's the right word, but.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if
It'd
we
be
just,
something- it'd be
you know,
something
we-
worth
we do it
doing.
with the cleanups, we do it. Yeah, we'll get as many people beyond our group here, but
Yeah.
we could do it. It just seems to me that $1,200.
I think when the spring comes, it would be something we could
Yeah,
get the show.
It's a lot of gravel, it's 8 yards, it's a lot of
even if we
stuff.
don't get it all done, we could,
Yeah, but it's still sitting in the street, I mean, I understand the people's concerns, they're like, look, there's a pile of
Yeah,
gravel
I
in front of my
know.
house.
Oh.
You don't want to
For
see
5
that.
months.
First,
plan on
off,
this.
not that I'm supposed to be talking, but I was asked the question. The kids were playing on it. The kids were throwing the stones the other day. A
We stopped
resident-
them though,
Huh?
we stopped them.
Yeah, I know, but I actually got a phone call. The kids are back there again.
I just wonder how much of it's disappearing. Are
I don't
people
know.
taking some of it?
And the snowplows were running into it over
Well, I spoke to Joey, he was aware of it, the quick way, I said, listen, he saw it up there, he goes, he was aware of it, and, you know, he was diligent on it. I said, just please don't push this stuff around the street, I already cleaned it up once, and he says, no, we know where it is, it's not a big problem, so.
Alright, so why don't you?
Hopefully he didn't push it around the street. but-
He didn't. Why don't you pick a date? We can get notice out to people. And then if we give it a little time, we can keep talking about it so we get as many people as we can. We know we have the handyman, you know.
yeah, if we get half of it done,
It-
then we can pay the handyman to do.
If we wait till March, all the kids need community service to furniture with, so we can grab them.
How's that rental law? Maybe we can get some students to misbehave.
Right,
So,
exactly.
let's do it.
Yeah, let's put them back up the street. Hope for the best. Okay. Okay, Walnut Park?
Walnut Park. Yeah, you know what, I was going through it, you know, the list of the stuff you wanted me to do as far as, you know, the list that I emailed you guys is like the cost of the Poquott. I mean, and then it got technical with the dirt, you know, and you want to make sure the dirt is, it's tested, but then I'm looking through it, and that stuff is, it's RCA, and we don't know where, you know, do you know where it came from?
Yeah,
Can we get
it's
that
Manhattan.
tested?
You don't have to have it tested, it was tested before it got here.
Do we have any
It's Manhattan,
paperwork on it? I
Yeah,
mean-
plenty of paperwork.
Okay.
Okay, it was sent here as a donation, okay? It was spread by volunteers for
Okay.
free,
Okay.
okay? And it's Manhattan slag, and
Okay.
it's all the, we use it all the time.
So, like, as far as that, do you wanna get
But
some?
you didn't answer any of these questions that we sent out, like, do we need insurance for the guy using the Bobcat, who's gonna operate the Bobcat?
That's what I was trying
Okay.
to get at. So if we rented it, if I'm volunteering, then I'm covering up the insurance.
Okay, you know how to drive a Bobcat?
Sure, I've used them before. That, as far as the fills, I mean, I can find that out from whoever's supplying it.
What are you
As
finding
far as
out?
the fill, I'm saying, you guys want this fill put in there, but I don't think it's really necessary to put all this dirt down. So you said you
You
wanted.
need topsoil to
You-
put down to
But
grassy.
this topsoil down there, Dave. That's why.
Not
Right,
Not-
the stone was laid on top of something,
There was
right?
grass there before, so
Right.
why are we putting more dirt?
You're gonna take the
in-
Bobcat, rip up, what's
Just
that?
in the soil, but even if you're taking some dirt up, you can still put grass in down. I mean, if you're gonna sit there and you're putting more cost and more work into it, I don't wanna overcomplicate it. I just want to get the dirt back and still work. This started from just ordering more gravel and covering the whole thing. I said, well, we have all this gravel down here, let's put it down here. Let's just keep it simple. Put some seed down, see what catches, and just
Put
go
the
from
seed on
there.
the gravel and see what happens.
It's not
No,
gravel,
scrape
we're
the
scraping the
kind of
dirt
gravel,
off instead of ordering more gravel. So now you have gravel on top of, you're moving the gravel to where you want it. Now we have where the grass was originally.
But
putting
didn't we
seed down.
compact that? That's all solid, isn't it?
There's at
Aerated?
least 80 yards of gravel and stone dust was put on that parking lot, on top of what was
It's
already
like concrete,
there.
isn't it?
It's like concrete. You're not gonna sit down there and grow
Okay,
grass
so
on
this is the
that.
problem.
You
Okay.
may grow weeds along the edges, but you're
It's
not
gonna
gonna.
claim it eventually, but that's what's happening right now, all along the edges, you're right, all the crabgrass is coming in. So, you know, Dee, you asked me to go down there and ask
If-
with the, excuse me one second. You asked me to go down there when Edward was having his meeting, people said they wanted grass back. You said you wanted to put gravel down, half it needs it, the other half doesn't. Said people wanted grass, so now we're getting grass. I mean, if you wanna put gravel down, put gravel down.
I'm
I
not
mean, I'm
opposed to
just-
the grass, I just wonder how much it's gonna cost. I
I
don't think we
understand
put
that,
grass.
I mean, no, but I
down.
gave you the cost breakdown of what it was. How much topsoil we need, I really don't know, because I don't know how much topsoil you plan on putting down. But what I'm saying is there any
Well, how
topsoil
you'll know
over
is you
there?
go out and you measure it with
Is
topsoil.
there any
you-
topsoil there? That's my point, so.
Okay,
even
it's
if
not,
we
there's no
aerated it-
topsoil. This is what we've been through this for 3 months now. You need topsoil to put down grass seed. Your job was to get an estimate of how big you wanted the grass area to be and get us a price for it.
Just back
You
where it
didn't
was
do that.
before, right to where it was before.
But
was-
that doesn't mean anything to us as a price where it was to before. You have to tell us the fee, you have to tell us how much it is. You have to give us the details of it so that we can either approve it or not approve it.
But I'm trying to tell you, you don't need topsoil. There's topsoil there, there was
I
grass there.
disagree.
You took a
You
grassland
need
and just turned it into a parking lot.
I think at this point, if,
Jesus,
with how,
you want it to
with how long the rock's been there, and if you ever clear a rock driveway or anything like that, you're gonna have compacted rock
I get it.
where the grass is, and if kids are gonna, who wants this to
Okay.
be grass, right?
Okay.
At some point, you're gonna have rocks in there
Right.
with the grass, and that's not gonna be.
The grass
great.
is already reclaiming it, that's what I'm saying. This is getting completely out of control.
Grass isn't reclaiming it, weeds are reclaiming it. What would make sense is to sit down there and spray the weeds, to kill the weeds.
So now you're putting
Round
poison
up.
next to a wetland.
It's,
I'm just putting that out there, just putting that out there. So now you're putting pesticides down.
they put it everywhere anyway.
Yeah,
Is
all
this
right.
an open meeting?
Yeah, what's going on?
So, okay, so just give me, let's just get down to, so you want to find out, do the square footage for topsoil, and that's what it comes down to. As far as the.
Yeah, that was pretty quick
That's
here.
fine, so,
Okay.
so we can, say, Harry, in your best judgment, for half that parking lot, how many yards of dirt do you think that would take?
200 yards.
200?
You gotta have grass 3 or 4 inches.
I'd love to
If you're gonna put it,
looked
That's
at
why
by
you
a
have to get
professional.
it.
Yeah, I agree.
You're absolutely right, so then you know what?
So should we add that to the list for the next month?
That's a great idea, because I'm not gonna say 200 yards, I mean, that's the whole parking lot, I mean, if you wanna get a guy in there to do professionally, fine, I was gonna rent it just to kinda keep the cost down, to get the Bobcat, I could've
I'm
got
not
it done
saying you
for-
can't rent it, I'm saying is that we don't know what the cost is for topsoil or the grass seed or for 4D to come in and cut it after it's done. We're not saying
But
we
that
don't
was
wanna
the
do
part of
it,
the
you're
contract,
missing the
though.
point. You don't give us all the information, you give us bits and pieces instead of giving
But
us the whole.
wait, but
thing.
as far as cutting, that was part of 4D's contract before that, they used to cut that before you
Right,
put the gravel
but
down.
we have a different contract now,
Okay,
okay?
I mean, you're only talking about maybe, what is it, maybe 30 by 50, you're talking about 150 square feet?
I can't imagine
250
they'll
It
be.
can't be that much of a
I
difference.
can't either, but we need to know the price,
Okay.
okay? You can't just
Okay.
keep doing, say, oh, it might be this amount, it could be this much. Our gravel that started out at $340 at Stevens Path is now,
Mm-hmm.
if we went with 4D, we're now up to $2,200. So we have to know the price before we can do it.
They gave me the prices of all that gravel.
Okay, that's not my point, you're missing my point. My point is that we got the gravel for
Okay.
$340.
Right.
Now that we can't do the project, we weren't gonna.
But that was a big project, Dave. You started this project, and you know what? We relying on volunteers, and that was a larger scope for volunteers too.
We've
That's a
done
lot of
Stevens
manual
Path
work.
before, just so you know. We've
Okay.
done it
With 8
before.
yards of gravel?
Yeah, more.
Okay.
We did it with more.
All right, well, I understand why it's such a problem to do it this time.
I don't know. You're the one running the project. I don't know why it's such a project.
You said that the handyman had it.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
Let's table this one. Can we get 4D, who has our landscaping contract, to give us an idea what professionally they would estimate would be the amount of soil that would be needed and what that would cost?
Yes.
And then we can say to them, and how much would it cost for you to put that down? And we can at least break it down to that with somebody that we trust, and they've been doing a good job for us in all different ways. And then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
And the issue has always been cost, it's not a question of gravel
Right.
versus. I trust those guys, and I think we.
Done. Okay. Well, okay. Like they're closed now. I'm sure the one. Okay. All right.
Who's gonna do that?
What, you wanna call Mike?
Sure, you want to go right now? I don't know if,
Not right now.
yeah, okay, that's fine, I'll speak to him, I spoke to him today, I'll speak to him tomorrow. I don't know if he's really involved during the winter, but I'm sure.
He's
he'll
not,
be-
he told me that they're closed. He called to just tell me
This
about
is
the
that pressing
gravel.
issue for
I mean,
this time of year.
4D for gravel?
No, for
For,
Walnut Park, to get a price to put down soil and grass seed for the square
Fine.
footage that,
yeah,
and we need square footage. Okay, anything else on those two?
yeah, let's see.
Actually, John and I bumped into each other by the beach this morning, and, you know, the fence had gotten damaged by a tree that came down, not a big deal. But while we were there, we were talking about how we could straighten out that fence. If we're gonna do that, I mean, that's nothing to fix that one area. But then, to just see whether or not we can start to get some official word from DEC about what we would like to do. And,
Well, I met with, yesterday, I was down there and I brought the Sea Grant representative from Stony Brook down there. I had been in contact with her. They're very good at working with villages to create a revitalization of beaches. And she emailed me back today. They have, she has ideas for what we can do to revitalize Walnut Beach and maybe shore up the sand loss down in California as well. So that's a place to start.
Yeah, and Bill Poquott is
would
working with
they be able
Nelson.
to speak for DEC in terms
No,
of
we would have
everything
to-
filled in that one? See, that one little corner is a
No, we would have
swale,
to-
we'd have to fill that in,
we would have to
so
talk to
are
them.
we okay? Rich had said to me, we're fine, that's not a big deal, we can do it, but just to get some official, so that we can move forward, we can start the price, we can, you know, we can maybe discuss that telephone pole and all those different things. We may not get it all done at once unless we get some of this grant money, but we can at least start to chip away at it, at least open it up so that we have more of a beach. And the beach was, it took a hit on that storm, there's some damage. I mean, it'll degenerate.
Are we guys doing beach conservation or?
No, we're doing,
Your pledge.
What- yeah, just
Oh.
keeping the, what I was meeting with was, she's, you know, with New York Sea Grant,
Okay.
and that's a fund that they provide villages and communities that have waterfront property
Right.
with the ability to revitalize their beaches, and
Right.
get their waterfront going, things like oyster seeding, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. And so I'm looking into how we can help make them, bring a grant to us to get our beaches a little bit better.
so Nelson Poquott Blaze also went to that meeting for Suffolk County. They identified that they have about 5 to 7 grants that they feel can possibly qualify for them. It's a 50% match, and they're working with Bill Poquott now to start getting all the details of which ones they think. So Bill feels if some of them are in reach and the 50%, he's gonna try and find out before the budget so that if there's a couple he feels we have a good chance for, we can include that 50% in the budget next year.
They handle they officially.
Well, Nelson Poquott Blaze, Little Adventure,
Okay.
okay, so.
I
Okay.
think it'd be good before we started, like, doing anything down there to have some plan in place before we start trying to change things, and then that ends up making things be more costly, or, I'd rather see, like, what people have
Or the
to
other way
say about
around,
it.
so, because we have a rough idea about what we want to do, but then to move along and then find that the DEC
Doesn't want you to
says
do
you
it.
can't do anything, whatever you want, the answer is no.
I know the sensitive about wetlands, so that's the only thing I can see really.
Yeah, if it's, well, it may not be considered wetland, that's the sticking point.
If it isn't or it isn't.
It may not be considered a wetland.
Do you want to work on a plan?
Yeah, I
Okay.
already feel like we made good headway with the Sea Grant people.
Yeah, you
and
work with
she
Bill
gave me
too,
good
and see.
contacts
Okay.
with some other funds out there. They also mentioned that, I guess, there must have been some work through Sea Grant potentially being done back in 2003 to 2005, because one of the people there was able to look back and see that for California Beach, that they'd already started and then it just never came to fruition. So they have some familiarity with
The area?
the area. But they were good, so we'll see where it goes. I think it'd be cool to go further with that and get the beaches back up.
Yep.
The
Okay.
difference right there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so number 2, John, did you give, the
Yes.
clerk
The prices, I was with Craig from Aronica.
Mhm.
We were around today, and he was supposed to drop off, Jody, drop off that proposal?
I didn't see anything from them today.
He did, he said he was gonna drop it off today. We marked the trees, he was just, he was eyeballing some other stuff that, you know, pretty much going through the North Shore. We had to reschedule because of the storm, but,
Doherty was looking for you, I think yesterday, they said they had a meeting with you.
no.
Jim Doherty.
He called me today, I just spoke with him. I got the, I spoke with him today, but, did Bill, because I was listening to the meeting on the recording, now was Bill, dealing with Doherty on that?
No, he's
Does
dealing, what Bill was doing is that he has a company that will come in that we approved if there's an emergency that occurs and the tree comes down.
With Axiom?
No, it's Arbors,
Oh, okay.
Arbor,
Right.
yeah, Arbor Vista.
Arbor Vista.
Okay.
And then they gave us a daily rate and they gave us a storm rate and how they would, and they sent all their insurance and so we approved it at the last meeting.
All right. Also, I got the, well, okay, that's coming up. We can talk about that next, I guess. As far as North Shore, but I'm just waiting for our Veronica's proposal.
Okay.
All right. And you know, the biggest thing was going through the streets, you know, it still comes down to resident or village trees. You know, I mean, there's some branches that were hanging over, and he says, well, what do I do? I says, well, that's on the property, but clearly it's a dead branch hanging over the village, so what do you do? I said, I don't know if you're going to touch it. So I said, if it's hanging over, it becomes a threat to somebody, or if it's gonna come down. I said, he says, if it's hanging over somebody's property, you can cut it. So, if you wanna go forward
Are
with
they
that.
all getting the same list?
Yes.
Okay,
The whole, because the list that I gave out to them, we went through the same thing,
okay.
all right?
So how many companies do we have so far?
So
We have
for 2,
Aronica,
and I'm waiting for North Shore. They had to reschedule because of the storm, everyone's
and
been
who's,
busy because of the.
Aronica, North Shore, and who else?
And Doherty. Doherty gave us a proposal in, and you have Veronica in right now. That's the,
That's different.
that's something different.
I haven't seen,
I spoke to Jim, because this is probably gonna come up in to talk about that as far as, remember the invoice I handed in?
Mhm.
And you said it was, you know, why was it, I told him you need itemized
Yep.
invoices. So that's what I got. I said, look, you gotta do me a favor, it's, you know, money's tight, can you do any better on the work that you did? So he says, I'll adjust it. So those are, it's probably gonna be lower than what he gave with the initial one. Now you have 4 different situations with the emergency service coming out. Okay, so everything's right there to rectify that. So that's where we're at. So I'm just waiting for North Shore to come back, because those are the only 3 that
Okay,
we
and you have
spoke
the
to.
other 2, Joe?
Yeah.
no, I have none.
Here's
We have
that.
not gotten Veronica's yet.
I'm sorry, Aronica was here, he's gonna be dropping it off. Doherty, he sent to you. Doherty emailed it to you.
I didn't get it.
You said you got it. I spoke to you like 2 weeks ago, you said you had it. Or you did drop it off. I spoke to Jim, I asked him if you dropped it off, he said he dropped it off. And I called you, you said you had it.
No,
Okay,
I never got it. Got it from there.
okay, well, I spoke to Jim, I said, did you drop off the proposal for the tree list? So,
I haven't
alright,
seen
then
it.
I'll ask
I
Jim to
really
send it
haven't
over.
seen it. I really haven't.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sending it over.
Okay, you got it.
Okay. When you get all 3 of them, Joe, why don't you just email them to us,
Okay.
okay? Okay, I don't know if this was taken care of or not.
Yes,
This
it
was Janet, right?
I spoke to, on the email for the list of things you want done,
Mhm.
I spoke to Janet out front. The invasive plants she's talking about are at the end of Birchwood. Straight ahead, that's
Okay.
somebody's private property. I mean, unless you want to contact them and tell them they have to take care of that Japanese knotweed. And she was also complaining about the Hesithia, is that the way you say it? Hesithia, the stuff that vines?
Forsythia? Oh, no,
Hesithia, or Forsythia. I'm not too sure you say
The
it.
stuff that
The
vines on the power line?
vines on the power lines. So she says, well, that's blocking people's traffic. So I did address it. I emailed it to you in the last list of stuff that I sent in. And, you know, then again, they said they'll clip the bottom of it, the stuff will die off.
Okay,
And that's the, you know, that's the easiest thing. But as far as the invasive the Japanese knotweed, that's on someone's property. So whether you want to have Frank speak to them, that they have to control it, or, you know, we can't go on any property and start cutting there.
We have the maintenance of property one that includes.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. So if you want to enforce that there, then
but the telephone poles, did we contact PSC&G or no?
they I got back to me, they said that it wasn't, the work that needed to be done, that was on touching the lines wasn't critical, it needed to be done.
Does it need to be done? Does Janet know?
I think I
Or
forwarded
does
that
she
to you
need an
guys.
answer?
No. There was a little bit of crosstalk between, there's about 3 people we're talking to, And, you know, they said, well, it doesn't have to be done because it's not threatening the lines.
Okay, so we have to notify her and let her know.
Yeah.
Which property is that?
Straight at the end of
Yeah,
Washington.
the white house.
Greenhouse, white
It's got
house.
the awning on it,
green
it's got the sailboat off to the side on the right.
It's the last property, it's the last property before
Right.
the.
If you go on Birchwood, you'll drive up their driveway.
Right.
So it's around the pole, I mean, it's a lot of it there, but I mean, that stuff is all over the place. So she was speaking about that, and she was talking about the vines on but I mean, I spoke to that probably 2 months ago. That's that.
Okay. Anything else on that? Okay, number 4, update on the fire pit. So Bill was working on that. He said that he's gonna wait until the weather is warmer. He finds no reason not to move it easily. He liked my idea of the smokeless fireplace, and he said if the residents here give him his contact information, otherwise he'll reach out to them. So I'll table this until next month. Okay, so number 5, I'm a little confused on. PSE&G sent an email saying that pole number 14 on Chestnut, we have to transfer over the electric and then notify them that we've transferred over the electric. But we think that it's already been done by them, right?
But the new poles and the transformers are in on Cedar and along Bayview, so whether or not they've switched over from the old pole, the wires are there, the transformers are there.
On the new pole.
Right, but the
Mhm.
old poles are still there. Looks like maybe they switched over their wires, but not the telephone.
No, they won't touch those until,
They said once the transfer is complete to let them know, and then they will let Verizon and Cable know that they have to move their wires over.
the only thing they're looking at is the street light. And I
Oh,
already put that out to
when,
Paul Fillsback.
okay.
Yeah,
So the electric's over, we just have to move the street light over.
yeah, the
Okay.
street light has to be moved.
Did they give us?
Once the street light's moved, then they're gonna notify Verizon and Cable to take their lines off and transfer them to the other pole so they can take the pole down.
Okay.
But they don't
So,
touch the pole until the street light's gone.
this email made it sound like we had to get the electrician to move the electric over. Okay.
No, we have to move the street light.
Okay. And riser transfer using the electric
Well, Specs
electrician.
got that on, I sent them that a week ago. I don't know where they are with it.
Is that the vendor that we use? That's
Yeah.
Well, it's back electric.
Because we, if we're gonna have them come into the village, we have the one light, the thing is hanging down.
And I got one on my street too.
But that's not gonna be the only pole. There's other ones out there, right, Frank?
Yeah, there was, we did give a list a while ago, but we'll give an updated list.
Give me an
Before they come
update.
up.
I know the one on Harrison's gone, in the middle of Harrison Avenue.
Yeah, I mean, we have some light bulbs out, but
I-
there's
I
also
already
other
put-
poles that's gonna have to be
Yeah.
transferred over. Okay.
No, there's nothing that to be transferred over.
But just that one? That's the only one,
That's
number
the only one
14?
they're talking about.
Okay.
They just put in a pole across from Charlie Rodriguez. They're not talking about
Mhm. Yeah, it's a short one with the short arms, right?
They're not talking about Charlie.
No.
The pole is across the street now, and they haven't brought the wires across. But we're gonna be in a kind of the same situation where they're gonna do, this PS&G, they're gonna do the electric, but then there's all these cables that go across that still have to be moved. Now, are we involved in that?
Is there a light fixture on it? Because it sounds like we're only doing it if it's a light fixture.
No. Is there a light- You mean on the new pole? No.
Hmm. No, that I guess not.
Oh, okay. I guess it's Charlie's problem. He's been doing all the legwork on this because it's his house. Somebody's gonna have to.
The light pole will only touch the electric side.
Right, so somebody, they're
They'll
putting
move
in a pole,
everything
they're
upstairs,
moving the
they'll move
electric.
the transformers, they'll move boxes, and they'll move lines. They won't touch Verizon and they won't touch
Right.
cable.
Right.
And in our case, it will not touch our streetlights. So the streetlight arm has to be moved by our own electric company. And once that's moved, then they'll call Verizon and the rest of them and tell them, strip your lines out, and then they'll take down the poles after they clear it out.
There's 3 houses, myself included, that are beyond where they're doing the work. So somewhere, something's gonna have to be interrupted if, the electric is fast, we reconnect and we're done. But the other stuff, I don't know whether or not it jeopardizes our service.
I think it's just as fast. I think once they're out there. have they moved the electric over to the new pole yet?
Not yet,
Okay.
I just got it all set.
When they do, you should let us know, because then we could also just email them and say, we'd like to go over there, they'll contact Cable and Verizon and get it switched over. Okay, so, all right, so Joe, you're gonna take care of that then?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, number 6, the building department is requesting that we do an additional fee for road maintenance. So what we're finding is that these permits, especially all the work that's been done on Chestnut, we have these big trucks coming up and down, and we have to constantly redo Washington, and that's like a big road. So Mike had said that a standard thing is like 10% of the building fee. So for someone who's doing like gas service for $150, it's $15. But he wanted us to talk about it, see what we thought. Some villages that he works with do as much as 25%. What do you think, Joe? Because I know you have a lot of villages.
Is this for the utilities or?
No, that's just for
So
roads.
if you're doing construction,
If you're getting a permit, there would be like a fee he thinks it should be a percentage.
no, I get
not
it,
a fee.
I'm just thinking, I'm just trying to think of what it is based on, it's not for, if a company comes in and is working on the poles, if PSE&G comes into it, they're not gonna pay to help fix our roads.
Well, they
if
have a
they're
bond
renting.
with
They have
us,
a
so
bond,
if
right,
they
so
do that, then we take it out of the bond.
So it's just, person doing construction or some kind of work that brings heavy trucks in.
Yeah, because it's really tearing up the roads. I mean, Washington, well, I think we've done 2 or 3 times since I've been here, so.
Do we have anything in place where they just have to pay for damage? If
They have a
something-
bond, they have a bond. The problem is that it's not just, it's the truck over and over again and over again. And then, they're done with their work, just on Chestnut alone, I think there's 4 or 5 houses that are done, right? Now you have Charlie's house, you have the other house. Okay, by the time these trucks keep coming up and down, the guy who did it at 65, Chestnut, he's done, but maybe it was his truck who started it.
Yeah, well, my point was gonna be that includes PSEG and all the other things that go on that are not related to a particular house's construction.
But when the utilities come in, they apply for a permit. So the fee would be on their permit as well.
All right, so then, okay. All right.
So what I would do is I would make it requirement, if there's gonna be heavy construction, then I would make it a requirement of the building permit that they post the bond.
They do,
And,
already.
They do already
Yeah.
for the road?
Well, not for the road, no, just for any kind. No, they don't anymore. They did, when I did my house, they did.
Yeah, but then even if they posted the bond, that's my point. They wouldn't be, even though they are contributing, what you're saying is in the long run, every heavy vehicle that goes on that road is
Mhm.
contributing to its ultimate destruction.
Yes.
Okay, so somebody placing a bond, and now they're not even doing that, is not going to pay, because during the time that they're back and forth, there's no damage. It's down the road.
Right, how do you
That's the
assess,
thing.
like, that's the thing, how do we
So
assess the
what we're
damage?
saying is that the
That's why
homeowners
Mike's saying it
get
should just be a
stuck with
flat
that.
fee and put it to the side, and that way.
So I think it's a good idea that we build into all this activity that somebody is generating a fund that we can use to restore the road.
Mhm.